At the start of 2024, Buffalo was ranked as the top city to look out for, specifically because our cost of living is so inexpensive. Buffalo is deemed as the perfect place to not only buy a house, but to live super comfortable on an average to median salary. We have no traffic, we have all our amenities within a 10-minute drive of each other, and we don't have no city-destroying natural disasters.
Florida just bracing for impact.
The mountain fire, as it's known, in California, burning 20,000 acres.
We don't have tornadoes, we don't have no hurricanes. When you leave your house, by the time you get back, even if you're on vacation, your house is still gonna be standing there. We do get some snow though, but it melts after a week, I promise you. A foot of snow, almost a foot of snow overnight, which is crazy. And that's one of the biggest misconceptions about Buffalo. I hear you guys get a whole bunch of snow. That is true. I ain't gonna lie to you on that front, but it's not in every single neighborhood. If you live south of the city, yeah, you getting hit hard. Orchard Park, Hamburg, West Senegal, basically closer to the Bill Stadium. If you live north of the city up here, Amherst, Cheektowaga, Clarence areas, you don't get basically any snow at all. If Orchard Park is getting 6 feet, you may be getting half a foot, maybe a foot, depending on how bad it is. Let's see the rest of the great reasons everybody is deeming Buffalo as the place to be in these next coming years. Hey, real quick, this video is sponsored by none other than Be in Buffalo, the region's nonprofit talent attraction initiative. Yes, there's other people outside of myself that believe in Buffalo and advocate heavily for it, and this nonprofit does it all. They not only can help you with some resources, but they're also pulling in businesses and other people who's looking to make Buffalo home. All right, so I had to throw that out there. Now back to the video. The biggest thing that attracts a lot of people to Buffalo is obviously our inexpensive cost of living, especially if you guys can keep your current salaried paid rate. If you read any online article, any forums on Reddit, or just talk to anybody from Buffalo, most people are going to tell you our cost of living is anywhere from around 5 to 15% less than the major cities or hubs around the entire United States. Especially if you guys are coming from cities like Manhattan, Atlanta, California, you're probably looking at either 30 to probably 40 to 45% lower to live here compared to where you guys are coming from. If you guys look at US Census Bureau online, the average person right now in Buffalo, this is no exaggeration, makes around $30,995 per year. That's about $596 or about $600 a week. The average median income right now in Buffalo is $48,050 every single year, or about $924 a week. And these are the stats from the last 12 months or 2023 basically. So this puts Buffalo at a 40% lower income rate compared to the national average, which is around $80,000 or something like that for a median income. So imagine if you guys are coming from a cushy tech California job and your employer lets you work remote, or an Atlanta job that allow you guys to work remote. A lot of my digital nomads out there, I'm not saying you're gonna live like a king or nothing like that, but you're going to live pretty comfortable. And what makes the affordability so great is because of the biggest bill that most people have is going to be housing is a lot lower than you can find around the entire United States. In the county that Buffalo sits in, right, the entire county, right, the average right now is $330,000 as of November of this video, making of this video right here. So whenever you're watching this, 330, listen to this though. Inside the actual city of Buffalo, right? Not included any suburbs. This is North Buffalo, South Buffalo, East Side, and West Side. The average is $250,000. I remember when I first started shooting these videos in 2020, the average was around $132,000. It's crazy, the jump from 2019, 2020 time to 2024 going into 25. It's amazing. And it gets even better in the most popular suburbs, right? So your Amherst, your Cheektowagas, right? Amherst average $417,000. Now, this is deemed as the most kind of prestigious suburb, the kind of that we have, and it's also the biggest suburb we have too. So imagine 100,000, 150,000 people, and the average still is. And you talking about there's $1 million properties inside of Amherst. So looking at Cheektowaga, the Cheektowaga average is going to be $245,000, and this is the most central suburb that you guys can have in Cheektowaga. It's literally 6 minutes from the airport and 8 minutes from the mall. No exaggeration. Now, in most major states, right, the number one complaint is going to be what? Traffic and travel time. In the South, I don't care what part of the South you live in, traffic sucks. Buffalo does not have that issue. Everything is either 10 minutes away or 5 minutes away. The gym, the grocery store, your pharmacy, you pick it, you name it. Buffalo, we are spoiled here when it comes to proximity. People complain, no exaggeration, about driving 20 minutes. If they gotta go to Niagara Falls for something, they're complaining. If they live 15 to 13 minutes away from work, you will hear people complain. The only time we get traffic is either after work on a Thursday or Friday, or there's an accident. Saturday through Wednesday, you're not getting any traffic around unless there's an accident. Buffalo's proximity to things and how you can get around the city in 15, 20 minutes is uncomparable. We got 5 major highways. They all loop around and connect to each other. Traffic is not a thing here, which is probably, and I know when I travel around, it's so underestimated, but it's the most beautiful thing when you gotta drive 20 minutes to Walmart anywhere else. And speaking of being spoiled, it's dope because we literally have Canada in our backyard. All right, so now that we in the car, I'm about to take you out of Canada real quick. 26-minute drive, maybe 30 minutes depending on how fast you drive, but it's super easy. All you literally need is, if you don't have your passport, make sure you guys get an enhanced license. So basically, if you're coming from US to Canada, you got to pay the $5 across the bridge, so you can see the falls to my left, right? You can see the falls. That getting back in here is gonna be the problem, but you can see the falls to my left. So, and then you just gotta come up here to customs. Now, I won't be able to record going in through here because I don't want no issues. So I'm going to pause this real quick and I'll get right back to y'all. And just like that, we are in Niagara Falls. Now the weather sucks today, so I ain't gonna be out here long, and I just wanted to actually show you guys how easy it is. I can't say easy it is to get in because not every time it's gonna be that easy. Sometimes they ask you 20 questions, sometimes they ask you 2 like they did today, but the falls is gonna be back this way, and then you got Clifton Hills, which is pretty much gonna be right behind me here. The next stop is gonna be Niagara-on-the-Lake outlets or premium outlets. I always tell people this. If you go on to the outlets in Niagara Falls, you must just bring your passport and go the extra 15 minutes to cross the border and come over here. This one is like triple the size. There's way more stores and it's way cleaner, to be honest with you. Or if you guys really are into road trips, you can definitely just go to the Toronto premium outlets. They have all the designer stores and things like that. I go across the border like it's going to Walmart for a lot of you guys. Like, you can get back and forth from Canada in no time. When I mean no time, no time. It's not, all you need is your passport or an enhanced license and you're good to go. That's one of the dopest things. And I hear a lot of people, I've been talking to people obviously over these last 4 or 5 years I've been making these videos. A lot of people, especially if you guys got business in Canada, this can be a great spot for you guys, either here or Buffalo or Niagara Falls, right? It doesn't really matter, the Western New York area in general. But if you could do it, guys, do a lot of business. If your employer is sending you to Toronto every other week, think about Buffalo. Again, especially if you can keep your salary, think about Buffalo, Niagara Falls region. I'm telling you guys, not only are you gonna save a lot, you're probably looking at them Toronto prices like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. Compared to Buffalo, I know Toronto, it gotta be like $1.5 million for a box. The food scene in Buffalo has always been there forever, right? I don't care what city you're going to. I would go toe to toe with any city when it comes to food here in Buffalo. Pizza, wings, Italian, Jamaican, Hispanic, like you name it, there's a cuisine here in the Buffalo area that I'm telling you will match anybody. Not a whole lot of Michelin star chef type of thing, but your normal mom and pop stuff, please Buffalo food is amazing, and I don't care what city you coming from, we have never had it. You talk about fish fry, oh my gosh, you got plenty of places, whether you want batter or cornmeal. Jamaican, you got Brat Tail, Chef Darian, Caribbean experience if you want to go somewhere in the hood. Like, I mean, you got Hispanic Nagger Cafe, you got Yummies on Seneca, which is in South Buffalo. You also got the famous Monty's, which look like a corner store, but it's some of the best Hispanic food you ever get. And I can go down an entire list, right? Buffalo's food is going crazy right now. I just read an article on, I think it was Buffalo Business First. There was more than 100 new restaurants that came to the Buffalo scene last year. Now, this one may rub a couple people the wrong way. It's not intentional, but how a lot of y'all other states is drying up with water.
Widespread drought expected in California for the next 2 years.
That we live in the desert and we don't have any water to waste.
It's obvious that the Southwest United States is in a drought.
We don't have that issue here. And on top of that, we don't have any crazy storms here. Now, I can hear the comments right now. 2022 and 2023 were anomalies. Those were 100-year-old storms, right? Take a breather in the comments. Just hear me out for a second. We don't have any crazy hurricanes. We don't have no city-destroying storms like tornadoes and monsoons is what I'm talking about. The snowstorms, let me give my little riff on this. The snowstorms, yes, right? Those were 100-year storms. Nobody could have predicted what was coming. I've been born and raised. Obviously I wasn't there for 77. I'm not that old. But that storm was unlike any other storm we've ever had. That much snow that fast was unprecedented. All right, so nobody could have predicted what happened. And it's truly sad because I know so many people lost their lives. I don't know what the death count was, but it was terrible. I felt super awful. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that was terrible. In that same breath, I think the city could have done a way better job in preparing for it. If all your radars is going off, I don't know if it was Byron, the meteorologist, what was his name, Don Paul. I don't know what they were doing in City Hall at the time. I don't know. But if all your radars is going off like this is gonna be one for the making, they did a terrible job when it comes to preparing. And I don't know who we pointing fingers at, but we gonna point them at somebody. The last two things are gonna be schooling and then getting in on the early development. Let's start with schooling real quick, just to name that off. A, you're in New York State, right? I done viewed a lot of websites when it comes to these rankings. US News has New York State ranked as 12 out of the 50 states, right? World Population has them at 6, and then Walla Hub has New York State statistically ranked at 8th out of all of these, right? Now, in every city you're gonna have your good schools, you're gonna have your bad schools. Inside the city of Buffalo has always had a terrible reputation of having bad schools. It's not all the schools. City Honors, Hush Tech, a lot of the newer charter schools that's popping up, those are gonna be some of your best bets statistically. And just someone who lived here are gonna be your best bets when it comes to schooling inside the Buffalo area. Either way, you're getting a New York State degree, so you cannot go wrong. A lot of people want that. When they see that SUNY or New York State degree onside their resume, whether it's high school or higher education in college, you're gonna be looked at as a lot of the top tier. It ain't gonna be no Harvard, but New York and SUNY schools and degrees have always been ranked pretty high when it comes to college resumes and things like that. So if you guys are concerned like, all right, I'm gonna get an affordable house, but is the schooling gonna suck? No. Suburban schools, when it comes to high school, typically are a lot better than the city schools. They pay a lot more in taxes too, so they can get that funding. The city schools, it's like 50-something, 60-something high schools inside the city. They don't get as much funding as that one specific school district, like a Williamsville, Amherst, or Clarence, where all those taxpayers are paying that one specific schools. Now, lastly, to finish this up, there's a lot of money coming into the Buffalo, Western New York area. Here off these stats right here. $33 million is going into the new Central Terminal. Amazing. 10 million is going, now this is on the east side. East side has been neglected for years. 10 million is going over to the east side Buffalo, specifically to Broadway, Fillmore, going into the Broadway market. Broadway market, if you guys know anything about Buffalo, was a staple for years and years and years and years. it looks decimated over there right now. I mean, just did my people dirty. I'm telling you, the east side of Buffalo has been neglected for years, but that is changing. Even with those two alone, the Central Terminal and the Broadway Market, that's a lot of money coming over into building and revitalizing that east side area for sure. And then Ralph Wilson just dumped like $100 million on the outer harbor when it comes to LaSalle Park and just on that outer harbor, kind of that coast.
Now ready to go. After traveling more than 4,000 miles from Italy and navigating through the Erie Canal to get here, crews now preparing to install the pedestrian bridge across the 190 this week.
If you look at the drawing renderings, it's going to be amazing. I think they're supposed to be finished up early, either late 2026 or in early 2027. All of these projects are really finishing from 2025 all the way into 2027. So there's a lot of money coming here, and especially with the new Bill Stadium, which is crazy. I think that joint is like $1.4 billion. I don't know why they built that big of a stadium when the dome is not even gonna be a dome. Like, you know what I'm saying? We still can't host a Super Bowl here. Who wants to play in a snowy Super Bowl? That's the only thing that'd be killing me. You built this massive dome and you left the top open. Crazy, either way it goes. But there's a lot of money coming to the Buffalo area. And the beautiful thing is, and I said this 2 years ago, you can still get in early. Now, when I first started this video, I talked about the pricing of houses, right? When I first started shooting these YouTube videos for a lot of y'all, that was 2020. Average price was $130,000. I'll never forget, $35,000, something like that. The average price inside the city right now is $250,000. It's only going up because more and more people are starting to pay attention to the Buffalo area. So get in now. Affordability, you can still get in early. You're gonna pay your taxes, but if you coming from Cali, where you just sold your condo for $500,000, $600,000, and you about to come up here and buy something cash and live scot-free and still hold your current pay rate, man, there's a lot of reasons people are moving to Buffalo. These are just a few of them. Let me know in the comments what you guys like. As always, my name is Devonte Davis, the local realtor in and around the Buffalo area. I hope this video has provided you guys some good guidance as to where Buffalo is going and what's coming down the pipeline. I know I've been away for a little bit, but we're gonna make these videos again, getting back up into the new year 2025. We moved up so many people, love to continue to do it. Shoot me with a call, email, text, does not matter. Always pick up the phone. And as always, I will see you guys inside the next one.